Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome in if you're with us live on YouTube. Hey, thanks for hanging. Welcome into Attacking Third alongside Darian Jenkins and Sandra Herrera. I'm Lisa Carlin. It is Thursday. We are preparing for NWSL Playoffs because the quarterfinals, they all kick off on Friday. 8 teams. They will go into the weekend. Only 4 teams survive at the end of it. We are previewing all of it. Today, we are doing a deep dive into all of the playoff matches. We're also taking a look back at the 2024 rookie class. And then we're going to talk some of the teams that didn't make the playoff cut and what went wrong for them. Plus, Darian and I spoke with Kansas City current head coach Vlatko Andonovski, and that interview is dropping in today's episode. So like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know your thoughts if you're listening as a podcast, because we got to dive right into it. Sandra, good morning. We're wearing kits on this Thursday. Sandra, I'm going to toss to you first. Who you rocking?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful Mexico. Of course I'm rocking Mexico. I'm throwing it back to this one. I don't know if you can really see the design on it, but they got a little one down the sides. And I said, you know what feels right today? You know where my spirit and my mentals are at? Beautiful Mexico. So
Mexico.
I'm rocking with Mexico today. El Tri.
Sandra and I had a similar theme. I'm also rocking, I can't really stand up. I'm like wedged, but I'm rocking a Tigres kit.
You're right. Look at all those beautiful stars. I love that crest.
I was just going to say, you're a successful club when the stars have to go to a second line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I am rocking Utah Royals today. I'm going with a club that finished the NWSL season on a little bit of a higher high than they started the NWSL season. But they still struggled. They didn't make the playoffs. Clean slate for the Royals going into
they're not last.
They weren't best, but they weren't the worst, Sandra.
Oh boy, I love it here.
Absolutely weren't. No, Utah was not one of the 8 teams that advanced, but there were 8 teams that advanced to the NWSL playoffs, expanded postseason this year for the first year ever. The top 8 teams make the postseason. And guys, the quarterfinals are this weekend. What is it going to take for these teams to advance to the semis? So we're going to take you through every single quarterfinal matchup and explain exactly what it's going to take for each team to win. It all kicks off on Friday, November 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Orlando Pride, the Shield winners, hosting the Chicago Red Stars at Inter & Co Stadium. You can watch this match on Prime Video. Darian, what's it going to take for Orlando?
For Orlando, I put 3 points for Orlando. Solid team play defensively. Chicago is a team, Sandra can go off about this if she wants to, but Chicago is a team that really can make the game ugly. They really can. They sit back into this mid sort of low block and they pick the times to create chaos and hit you on the transition. And I think we've seen teams expose Orlando in that. So they need to be really solid defensively. Anna Morehouse being a wall in the back, helping organize that back line, making sure everybody's staying awake, starting their best 11. We've seen a lot of rotations with Orlando, especially because, they clinched. They're the Shield winners, so we've seen them kind of plug and play players, give players rest. Well, now's go time. They need their best 11, which to me is Adriana, Banda, Marta, Yates, McCutcheon, Angelina, Abello, Strom, Sams, Dyke, and my girl Anna Morehouse in the back. Mm-hmm. And do it for Marta. The last time Orlando made playoffs was in 2017. So they have so much that they want to prove. You have the world's most decorated, best player in the world on your team. Have some pride and do it for, I hate that I just made that.
Have some pride.
I love it.
I can't it's NWSL team names that they get you. But have some pride for her. Show out for Marta. This is a player that's going to throw her entire heart, body, life, and limb on the line to win this game. Everybody needs to match that energy, and I think that they've got this in the bag. But you cannot sleep on Chicago. So making sure that you're staying on defensively, shutting out Mal Swanson, Ali Schlegel. Those are players that can really hurt you in that transition, and I think that they got it.
Darian, I love that you rolled through your best 11, your starting 11 for Orlando. They're not all going to play 90 minutes, right? If Seb Hines starts them. So who's your game changers for Orlando?
Ali Watt. I think she started the last game, looked so strong, got a goal, maybe an assist, I can't remember, but I think she's a player that even if she does start, she's an impact player. Her runs to get in behind, the way that she's grown in her game, I think this year has taught her a lot, and how she combines with players, getting her head up, passing when we used to see her shooting a lot of the time. I think she's grown a lot this year. So she's definitely the player for me that can come in and be a game changer, along with Julie Doyle. Yeah,
good ones.
that's my number one for sure.
I like that shout for Allie Watt. All right, Sandra, what's it going to take for the Red Stars to take down the Shield winners?
I appreciate Darian so much, but along with some of the things that she's touched on, I'm going to say some thoughts, prayers, and candles. They're also going to need some of that going into this game. Listen, it's tough. Here's the Chicago run that's coming at you. It's been tough to watch this team kind of go into the postseason limping a little bit, for lack of a better phrasing. They're going to be without Ludmila. This is a player that provided this team finally in that long stretch of the second half of the season with a bit of unpredictability in terms of the attacking side. So much emphasis and focus has been on Mal Swanson this season, appropriately, because she's an MVP caliber type of player. But now they're not going to have that layer of unpredictability for them going into this postseason. So I'm in agreement in that they're typical game plan, they not only have to stick to that, but they have to execute it well. The tactics have been there all season, and maybe you don't want to go into a postseason at that predictable, but it's something that you have relied on before in the past. So you just have to make sure that you execute that efficiently. So that means obviously big game. You want big games from your stars. You want Alyssa Nair to have a strong game in net, to sort of see that game come to her and kind of control that. You want Mel Swanson to be a factor on the ball, but it's about getting it to her. So while you're sitting in this low block, while you're trying to make things a little bit ugly against a team that also tries to be a little bit patient and wants a little less of the ball, because Orlando doesn't always want the ball. They try to execute their timing. Chicago's going to have to do that as well. So maybe it's going to rely on big games from the sort of players that you look at as not those star players. It's going to be Franklin and Julia Grosso in that midfield to try to maybe connect and control some things. So we'll see how it turns out. It's going to be a tall order though, going up against the number one team.
Perhaps some unusual suspects in the midfield for Chicago to change the game for them. That's number 1, Orlando, against number 8, Chicago Red Stars, 8 p.m. on Friday. That match kicks off. Our poll on YouTube has 75% people voting that Orlando is going to win, only 25 going for the Red Stars. According
Sandra,
to
did you vote for the Red Stars?
Hey, I stood out of this voting. I'm not going to lie. That's one I didn't want to participate in.
I remember all of our brackets. We all have Orlando going through this round.
There you go.
We'll see. Okay, the next matchup on the quarterfinal schedule. It is happening Saturday, November 9th at 12 noon Eastern time kickoff. It's number 4 Kansas City Current against number 5 North Carolina Courage. This match in KC at CPKC Stadium. You can watch it on CBS and Paramount Plus. North Carolina is a team that had solidified their 5th place spot in the standings a while ago. They knew that they were going to roll with that 5th place spot, and they were going to go on the road no matter what happened. Now is a time where North Carolina has to focus on what they do in this match, specifically with their possession. All season, North Carolina has absolutely dominated, outpossessed every single team. They lead the league with over 83% passing completion, but it's what they do with that possession and how they stay structured against Kansas City that will get them through to the next round. So centrally, no sloppy passes for the Courage, leading to giveaways. They have to have really organized rest defense behind the ball, and they also have to possess quickly with off-ball movement. So centrally, when North Carolina has done well this season with their possession, it's moving down the pitch centrally, kicking it wide with a lot of different interchange, meaning their number 9 drops a little bit deeper, whether it's Caroline or Lucy up top, Manaka a little bit lower centrally, and having a lot of those overlaps with Ashley Sanchez in there, creating just a swirl and a flurry of players that disrupts Kansas City's organization centrally. last week for North Carolina against Washington Spirit, they got burned in transition against Trinity Rodman. She was able to sit on the back shoulder, get in behind, and it was quick transition that exposed North Carolina's back line. North Carolina has to learn from those mistakes. And it all started for Washington's goal last week with a turnover in the midfield, a quick pass, and then Ashley Hatch dribbling at North Carolina's back line. They can't give space centrally if they lose the ball, because Kansas City is going to hurt you in transition. So it's organization in their possession and their rest defense, making sure that if they get exposed and lose the ball centrally, that Kansas City can't just run with miles and miles of space. It's hard to do when you're going up against the team with 57 goals this year. It's going to be hard to do to limit them, but if they can do it, it's going to be a pretty big upset. We'll see. All right, Darian, what's it going to take for Kansas City?
Lisa, great points. I feel like somehow I'm always the one that's giving North Carolina the short end of the stick. And Shawnee has always given me crap for it. But you're right. I think North Carolina, they struggle away from home. Kansas City has become a fortress to play at. They sell out every single game. You have a teal man that's shouting at you from behind the net. And the way that North Carolina plays, it's great when they're in possession. It's great when they're in buildup. I do think they can take advantage of Kansas City in that way. The issue is transitional. They have, Kansas City have the leading goal scorer, the Golden Boot, Temwa Chawinga, with 20 goals on the regular season, and she's not slowing down. She's a fully rested Temwa Chawinga. Now, this is my main point. Kansas City have shored up defensively. They've brought in Kayla Sharples, Alana Cook, who have had this great relationship in the back line, two very analytical players that Vlatko has talked at length about how they've organized everything, how they anticipate how to set up and know who their opponent's tendencies are, what their opponent's tendencies are. And they have a stacked midfield. Labonta, Claire Hutton, Debina, DiBernardo. This is a team that is just stacked and I think extra motivated to get back to the finals, but put it away this year. And who wouldn't want to do it for the storyline? Kansas City at home, the inaugural season at CPKC Stadium, selling out. They have the Golden Boot winner. They have all the motivation to put it past North Carolina and keep winning.
I like that shout. Our poll on YouTube has Kansas City winning 60%, North Carolina 40%. I think people are listening to my argument of what North Carolina could do, given them
that good 40%, Lisa. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than Orlando and Chicago.
I will say for Kansas City, obviously, if Temwa Chawinga is back and plays at 90, right, even 60 minutes, that's going to be a difference maker for Kansas City. She scored in 13 of her final 14 matches this year. However, if North Carolina Courage can make it past the 60-minute mark against Kansas City, they will have a better chance of winning this game, sending it into penalties. I think that's a little bit of a saving grace for North Carolina as well, because of the 31 goals that Kansas City has conceded this year, 15 of them, so almost half of them, have been conceded in the final 30 minutes of play from the 60th minute on. So Courage, you just got to get to the 60th minute.
Lisa Carlin predicts penalties. You heard it here first.
Yep. Flip it.
Kansas City against North Carolina, Saturday, November 9th at 12 noon Eastern time. Don't go anywhere, guys. We've got a quick break for you. On the other side of it, Darian and I, we spoke to head coach of Kansas City Current, Vlatko Andonovski, yesterday. You get to hear his full interview after this break. Everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. We are pleased now to be welcomed by playoff-bound Kansas City Current head coach Vlatko Andonovski. Hey, Coach, welcome in. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You and your team are playoff-bound, and frankly, that's been set since September 20th when Kansas City and his team clinched a top 4 spot. You get to host on Saturday against the North Carolina Courage. Is the team ready for the postseason?
I think we are. I think we're in a really good situation. We have a decent momentum too. We finished the season in the right way, so I think we're ready.
V, obviously you guys have had a crazy arc this season, coming out hot, scoring a lot of goals, but also conceding quite a bit. We talked about a lot on A3, but you've made some moves, shored up your defense. What's maybe your biggest lesson you've learned from this season so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we learned throughout the season, but one thing is for sure that little things make big differences. And with the teams that we compete, or the teams that the team that we're facing in the quarterfinal, that we cannot give up any small things because they're gonna punish you. They have the quality to punish you, and there's no room for mistakes. So I think that with the changes that we made from the personnel standpoint, together with some of the things that we tidied up, we're in good situation.
The team is also in a good place because they have you as their leader and their head coach. You've been in playoffs before. Actually, the last time that you coached a playoff game was also against North Carolina Courage in 2019, and our very own Miss Darian Jenkins was on that roster.
Playing wingback, mind you.
You must have gotten some eye rolls from her after that one.
We had to. She'll tell you we had to do that. North Carolina was such a powerhouse back then, and the only way we could compete was if we changed the formation and the system in the game. We ended up going 1-1 in 90 minutes, and thanks to Darian and defending all the forwards that North Carolina had back then.
Well, now you get to take on North Carolina again, but you've seen them a number of times this year. Heading into this quarterfinal match against the Courage, how do you approach coaching playoffs versus the regular season?
I mean, one of the things in the playoffs is you have to be more conservative. I mean, the simple fact that this game is decides. I mean, it's a decider. Basically, it's a one and done thing. You have to take things just a little bit more conservative. That doesn't mean that we're going to change our philosophy, our style, but the approach has to be just a little bit safer, a little bit more conservative, and take the few opportunities that were given to us, if any are given, right? So that's the most important thing, or the biggest difference in the game, in the regular season to a playoff game.
You've created such a culture of success on every team that you've coached, but specifically this team and this long season. And you also have some big personalities that are a lot of fun, and it just seems like the team gets a lot of joy out of every single game. How do you balance that fun, but also the seriousness and success that you guys have had this year?
Yeah, I mean, talking about fun, I have to say, I told the players yesterday in a meeting, I've never been around players and team that laughs and smiles so much, which is great. I mean, as a coach, you come in and you see the players coming in with a smile on their face, and they leave the facility with a smile on their face, and absolutely kill each other, destroy each other, and fight and battle on the field in between. That's all you want. I mean, it's been such a pleasure coaching this group, and the fact that we've had some success with team, it's great. It was a great season, and it was an enjoyable season for the coaches, and I'm pretty sure for the players as well.
Some success, Coach. You're being very, very modest here.
Yeah, my God.
Over 55 goals, 57 goals on the year, 19 different goal scorers, and the Golden Boot winner, Temwa Chawinga, on your team, who always looks like she's having fun, 20 goals on the year. But when you're watching and coaching Temwa Chawinga, what sets her apart from other strikers?
She's special. I mean, obviously her ability to score goals is something that makes her different. But there's so many other things, and obviously the goals are what catches everyone's eye. The stats, the assist. But Temwa is a player that makes our team better in so many different ways. Whether it's defensively or offensively, she helps the team. whether it's press or winning the ball or helping the defense, but then in the other side in the build-up or creating space for the other players. She's a special player, and she's really fun to watch. I mean, obviously we see her 90 minutes, or you see her 90 minutes in the game, but I see her every day in training, and some of the things that she does, it's fun.
MVP candidate for Temwa?
No question. I mean, I think at this point it's a no-brainer. Like maybe 7, 8, 9 games ago, there was a little bit of a debate, but I think that she just differentiated herself from any other MVP candidate. That this is probably the easiest MVP that this league has ever had.
Vlatko, yes. I have been arguing with Lisa.
It had to be one of the easiest MVPs that the league can choose. I mean, 20 goals versus, I don't know what, 13, 14 goals. Summer Cup, goes in the final, scores 2 goals, leaves the field. Assist, defensive stats. I mean, if you look at her defensive stats compared to any other forwards, is not even comparison. That's why for me it's a no-brainer. Obviously, I understand that I'm a little bit biased because it's Temwa, it's a Kansas City player, but even if I was on another team, I would still probably say the same thing.
Okay.
Thank you for solidifying my argument against Lisa about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I concede.
Lisa, you were arguing this?
Sometimes, Vlatko, you just have to do what you got to do for television's sake, and we have fun with it. We have fun with it.
That's good then. That is good. But I hope you also understand what I'm saying.
Of course. I mean, you have been around, you've seen so many different players in the NWSL specifically because you were inaugural coach back in 2013 in this league. So when you think about the history of NWSL and coaching in 2013, 2014, 2015, how is it different coaching now in 2024?
I mean, first, I appreciate you bringing the 2014 and 2015 because those were the 2 years that we won the championship, and it brings really good memories. But when we compare the league, it's not even comparison. 2 different worlds. The league 10 years, 11 years ago, and the league now, it's completely 2 worlds. You can't even compare them. It's not even fair to compare the league back then and now, or to compare the teams or the team that I coached then or the team that I coach now with everything that we have, the resources that we have, the organization, everything in any aspect of the game. I think it's not even comparison. This league is moving forward so fast and is advancing rapidly. I think it's exciting times for us. It's exciting times for Kansas City with everything that we have here, with the stadium, the facility, the players that we have, the success that the team has. Like, it's really exciting, and honestly, I'm excited to see what's next for this team and for the league.
Vlatko, I wanted to take a step back because not many people know you played professional, you coached indoor. This is where you picked up Milan, your longtime assistant, and now you're NWSL. You have such a decorated coaching career, but who gave you your inspiration and your philosophy to be the coach that you are?
Yeah, I always thought, like, who would be the one person that I can pick, and it's hard because I worked with many people, and I've been around many good coaches. I've talked to many coaches. I've had people that were mentoring me throughout my career, whether it was in licensing and an educational program or in the coaching world. I think that the one thing that I was trying to do the whole time is just pick and choose what I think would be good for me or for my growth and help me grow as a coach. But I also don't want to give a credit to the players. I talked to the players yesterday, and I thank them for helping me become a better coach. There were moments in this season when I was challenged, and they were the ones that helped me grow as a coach. So I've been influenced by players itself. I mean, from 2013, I remember when I first started with the league. Lauren Cheney at that time, now Lauren Holiday, and Becky Sauerbrunn, and then we had Heather O'Reilly and Amy Rodriguez. So these were, and Nicole Barnhart. Like, these are all coaches that, players that are not just great players, but they're also great helpers that have helped coaches become better and grow.
I mean, you have a stacked resume of players we both idolized growing up. Vlatko, before we let you go, the hottest question we have to ask, best place to get barbecue in Kansas City, because we're going to be at the final in KC, so you've got to throw someplace out there for us to go try. I
mean, talking barbecue in Kansas City, it's not a one-sentence answer. Like, now I can put up a full-on presentation on barbecue if you want, and share with you, because barbecue here is not just a culture. I mean, barbecue is a way of life. So for us, KC Joe's obviously is a sponsor. We love it. If you're at the stadium, you got to go to it. You got to try it. It's a heaven. So you got to do that. You got to go at the original location, but then there's so many other locations in the city. Like I said, when you guys come here, I know you're going to be training one of the trainings. I'm gonna have a list with details and specifics, and then you pick and choose.
Oh, fantastic! You might have to roll us back out of Kansas City, back up here to New York. Coach, thank you so much, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to having you here in Kansas City and show you what we're all about.
Us too. You can watch Kansas City and Vlatko Andonovski as they host North Carolina Courage in a quarterfinal playoff match. This Saturday kickoff is at 12 noon, and you can watch it on CBS. Darian and I, we've got your coverage for you. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more Attacking Third when we get back. Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. Darian and I, we heard that interview before, but Sandra, that was your first time listening to it. What was your takeaway from Vlatko Andonovski?
Sounds ready. That man sounds ready. Sounds ready to play some NWSL playoff soccer.
He absolutely does. He also knows all about the barbecue. I'm here for that.
Respect.
I'm here for the barbecue. What's it gonna take? We have already talked about two of the matchups for the quarterfinals in the NWSL playoffs. We've got two more matches to get through. Let's kick it off with number 2, Washington Spirit taking on 7th ranked Bay FC. This match is Sunday, November 10th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. It is in Washington, D.C. at Audi Field, and ABC has the coverage for it. Washington, Sandra, they come in number 2, securing that oh-so-coveted number 2 playoff spot. What's it going to take for Washington?
It's going to take some rotation, because we've seen that from the Spirit. I was hesitant to sort of say whether or not we want to stick with what we've been seeing from them, but I think that's been part of the beauty of this Washington Spirit side. I brought up layers of predictability or versus unpredictability when we were talking about Orlando and Chicago, and something that I really admire about the Spirit is no matter who was at the helm of this team, whether it was Adrian Gonzalez or at this point Jonathan Giraldes to sort of lead this team tactically, these are players that have responded week in, week out to in-game adjustments or shifts, whether we've seen them in kind of a 4-2-3-1 or as recent as like a 4-1-4-1. These are players that believe in each other and the tactics in front of them when they have to go out there and execute. So I'm here for that, for the Spirit. I think they sort of kind of quietly have had one of the most incredible seasons in NWSL. I think there's been appropriately a lot of fixation on Orlando and all of the records that they have set. But this is a team that's going into the postseason with 18 wins of their own. And that is an incredible feat for any team to accomplish within this season in particular. So I'm looking for the game changers in this one. They've been careful to bring back Trinity Rodman. We're seeing her get more extended minutes. So what are they going to look like without maybe having her available in certain type of minutes. So I want to see the continuity that we saw them kind of go with in that final game against the Courage. I liked Hirschfeld kind of operating as kind of that lone defensive mid. I think she can really kind of disrupt some things when it comes to Bay FC. I'm going to let Darian talk about how they're going to maybe have some trouble in the midfield there because of what the Spirit are going to present to them. I think it's going to be a tough day for Bay to maybe try to break things down, or at the very least, even try to limit some of the attacking prowess of the Spirit, because despite their own kind of rotations and managing of players, they've got such capable talents. I'm keeping an eye on Makenna Morris, especially if they seem to want to rely on her in this postseason as well. She can absolutely bring the noise.
I wouldn't write off Bay. You're an expansion team. You had a rough, very inconsistent first half of the season. You have a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder, a little bit more of the dog in you to come out and take down the Spirit, who have won championships before. They have one of the most stacked teams in the NWSL, and especially because not everyone on the Spirit is fully healthy. We don't know minutes, how training's been looking, blah, blah, blah. You want to come in and make a statement. And for Bay, the key for me, for them to, what's it going to take? It's going to take chemistry on their front line. This front line operates on islands somewhat. Rachel Hill does a lot of the dirty work. Oshwala plays as more of a classic hold-up player, 9, not too involved in the build-up. And Kundanaji is the one that's dribbling, constantly gets the most touches out of all three of them. And she's on fire right now. 2 goals, a little trash talking to Paige Nielsen in the last Houston match that went viral everywhere. She's feeling herself. And when you're a forward and you're in the zone, you're looking forward to moments like this to take down a team like Washington Spirit and put some goals past Aubrey Bledsoe, or Kingsbury, excuse me. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't think the midfield for Bay is a space to write off. I mean, Tess Bodie leading from the 10, Kiki Pickett has been great defensively, and Dorian Bailey, we've seen her grow into that sort of 8 where she can be defensive and attacking. She just needs to put chances away, and I think she'll get some. But another key for Bay is set pieces. You have Abby Dahlkemper, who is scoring goals off of set pieces. She looks lethal when she's up in the opponent's 18. If they can get corners, they can create some fouls. I think this is a key that they can break the Spirit down. It's not so much in the run of play. I think it's how they get second balls off of these set pieces, off of big transitional moments, and take advantage of it. And I think that's what it's going to take for Bay. Don't write them off. I know the polls are going to sway towards Spirit.
Well, so the polls originally, they were 83% Spirit, 17% Bay. And as you continue to make your argument, Dee, Bay got a couple more votes in there. So it finished 78% towards Washington, and Bay.
A whole 5% pool.
Lisa, you teed that up like it was going to be 50-50.
I know.
That's still not
it's
good.
Tough. It's tough going into these postseason. There are some teams that are cooking, and there are some others where we're like, all right, let's see what you got. And Bay FC's definitely one of those teams.
I have faith in Albertine.
Yeah,
I respect that.
I like that. I like that. He's a full package coach, but postseason is a different beast. So Washington Bay, that match Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. Another huge matchup. Number 3, Gotham FC taking on 6th place Portland Thorns. This match is also on Sunday, November 10th. Kickoff at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Gotham host at Red Bull Arena. This match also on ABC. Portland Thorns, they head into this match the lowest ranked that they've ever been in a postseason. They've never been lower than 3rd, and they're 6th. So they go on the road. They are an underdog. And I think they have an underdog mentality because of the roller coaster up and down season the Thorns have had. However, last week, when Portland took on Angel City, we got to see Morgan Weaver, Christine Sinclair, and Sophia Smith start together for the first time since April, and they were absolutely electric in their 3-0 win over Angel City. All 3 goals coming from those 3 players. They need to build upon that. Continue to work together up top. feel each other's movements off the ball, and understand the spatial awareness. However, for Portland to win against Gotham, they have to stay compact between the lines. Specifically, when you look at last week for Portland, they got so stretched out and gappy between their front line and their midfield line. So often in the attack, it was Weaver, Sinclair, and Smith, and then 20, 10, 15 yards of space before Hina Sugita was making that late run. It worked against Angel City, and Portland was able to capitalize on those moments, but that giant hole between the front line for Portland and the midfield line is not going to stay vacant against Gotham FC. With Neely Martin and Delaney Sheehan sitting in there, Rose Lavelle also popping into the pocket, that space on the pitch is exactly where Gotham hurts other teams. They pick up possession, they switch the point of attack, and they move in transition. So Portland has to shore up the spacing between the lines, and then defensively, they have to give support and help coverage with higher up pressure defensively, so it doesn't all fall on the shoulders of Becky Sauerbrunn and Kelly Hubley as the center backs. With this Gotham side, Darian, they're feeling themselves right now.
Listen, I was going to say you kind of made my argument for Gotham a little bit in that. I mean, how could you not? I think, really, Gotham doesn't have many weaknesses. For me, what it's going to take for Gotham, stick to their game. Do not change at all to go play Portland. Yes, Portland look much stronger with their triple threat up top. You want to do it for Sink. You have this extra motivation, this extra heart in the game to do it for Sinclair. You don't want her to bow out. Gotham experienced this in 2023 with Krieger, but it's just different. This is a team that has such a defined style of play. I think they have to stick to their high press, them regaining possession higher up the pitch with that really aggressive high back line, shutting out Portland, limiting balls over the top. So getting in the face of Portland when they are in possession so that they can't have service into Weaver and Smith, because they're going to look to exploit that entire half that Gotham leaves open when they're not in possession. I don't know if Portland have it in them, especially when you have Gotham's strongest lineup in the front, which is Yasmin Ryan, Esther, and Ella Stevens. In my personal opinion, those are players that can cover ground. They block spaces. They force you into those pressure pockets, into their midfield, and then hit you on transition or lull you to sleep in their possession and then strike. And Gotham are finishing so well right now. I mean, Mandy Freeman scoring bangers in the back and getting assists. Esther is making something out of nothing with a chip and a flick to a brace in her last match. I think this team is hitting their goal scoring stride, their confidence in the front so much that Portland are going to have to alter their game defensively so much that we're not going to see much in their attack. So Gotham, stick to what you're doing. Don't fix it. It ain't broke. I'm pretty sure Gotham's got this one in the bag.
The poll agrees with Darian, 70% for Gotham win, 30% for a Portland win. Gotham against Portland, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Watch it on ABC. Don't go anywhere, guys. We are talking about the rookie class of 2024 next. Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. After the new signing of the CBA and the NWSL this year, we said goodbye to the college draft. So we didn't even know it, but last year was the final draft. So the 2024 class brought in some absolutely incredible rookies, and we're just going to give them some love talking about this final draft and reassessing this class. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's pretty safe to say that Washington midfielder Croix Bethune is the likely leading candidate for Rookie of the Year in the NWSL this year. She broke the record single season assists at 10. She only played 17 matches before getting injured. She was the third draft pick out of Georgia going to Washington. Is this the clear candidate, Darian? Is this who most people are probably going to go for?
I think before Olympics, we were saying, oh yeah, Rookie of the Year, Croix Bethune, without a doubt. Even maybe fourth game in for the Washington Spirit, seeing what she can do how dynamic she is on the pitch. I mean, she's similar to a Rose Lavelle to me, that regardless of what team she's on, she would have a massive effect. She can change the tone of the game, the style that your team plays, because of how fluid and almost poetic she plays on the pitch. So 100% rookie of the year, without a shadow of a doubt. I cannot wait till she's healthy next year, because that girl's going to come back with vengeance.
Perfect time for us to tease that Sandra and I spoke with Croix Bethune yesterday. Go listen, watch that interview on Attacking Third YouTube and as a podcast. She is such a sweetheart. She is such a sweetheart. Croix, we are rooting for you. Our producer is going to drop the link to that interview in the chat if you're live with us on YouTube. Sandra, every year NWSL has Rookie of the Year candidates that people get to vote on, but they only have 3 candidates. How many candidates would you like to see specifically this year with the 2024 rookie class?
5. Count them 5. I want to see at least 5 finalists. That's not always the case. We get to see that, I believe, for MVP or Defender of the Year. I would love to see that expanded in this category, especially with the trends that we have seen over the last couple of seasons. The rookie classes that have come into NWSL have been incredible. And here we are, another consecutive year, talking about how there are, in fact, so many incredible talents. I think Darian's 100% correct. I think you and I feel the same way when it comes to Croix Bethune, and it sort of just feels like this record-setting Rookie of the Year season that she had means that she's a likely candidate for this individual award. But I do wonder if maybe in like an offset year or in another universe that there's not more chatter for someone like Claire Hutton. I think that she has had an incredible rookie season. She has become absolutely essential for Kansas City Current. I love that she sort of plays with she doesn't look like a rookie when she's out there. She just never looks panicked. She brings this sort of calmness on the ball energy week in, week out. It for me, it gives a lot of like vintage 2015 Danny Colaprico Chicago Red Stars energy. Like it's someone who's out there in a role that you need to sort of have and show that kind of leadership on and off the ball. And yet you're doing it in your rookie season. So it's incredible to have seen and witnessed her just kind of really step up to the plate and not be intimidated by anybody or by any moment at this point in the season. So I really like what she's been bringing, but I think there's arguments for so many players across different teams and the impacts that they've had. I mean, I talked about how Hirschfeld for the Spirit and going into their postseason. I mean, Makenna Morris is a player that has been stepping up for the Spirit in light of all of their injuries that they've had. So the list goes on and on and on, because I know there's a ton of rookies here that I'm sure folks will want to give some love to from on their own respective clubs.
Absolutely. The Rookie of the Year candidates are always the ones that rise to the top, oftentimes higher draft picks as well that went earlier in the draft. But Dee, when you think about the rookie class as a whole, this huge chunk of players that were very talented this year, outside of the top 5-6 candidates for Rookie of the Years, which maybe undercover or unnoticed rookies helped impact their individual clubs that they competed with this year?
For me, it's definitely got to be Madison Curry. She's a player that didn't go high in the draft. She was in the 4th round, the 51st pick.
Woo.
And this just shows the draft is dumb. It means nothing. You can get drafted in the top 10 and not play a minute, not get very limited time for the team you're on. It all depends on where you go, what the team's needs are. Does the coach favor you, your style of play? Is this just going to be a year where you have to learn under the starting whatever position, whoever's in front of you? So I'm glad we're getting rid of it. Madison Curry, I think, is a great example of this, because going to Angel City, she came in and has filled in so many different roles in the midfield, on the front line, in the back line, then made a name for herself as an outside back and a center back at times whenever they've needed her. And in my opinion, she's probably been the most constant, supporting, and consistent defender for Angel City next to Sarah Gordon.
And out there.
Big shouts. I love Madison Curry. I can't wait to see her game evolve, because I think she can even give more in the attack. But for her to be drafted that low is such a shame on other teams for not picking her up. And I think Angel City have a player that they can really develop around and be a leader for the team in the coming years.
I love that shout for Madison Curry. She played at Princeton, and I got to call her games a lot collegiately. To step in so seamlessly in just the third game when she probably wasn't going to play that much behind someone like an M.A. Vignola and absolutely rise to the occasion. It was fun to watch Curry this year. Emma Sears, she was a second-round draft pick, the forward at Racing Louisville, pick number 28. For Bev Yanez, she had an excellent season that even earned her a senior U.S. women's national team call-up, cap, goal, and assist in her first game. But prior to all the call-ups and everything, Sears did such a good job this year at Racing Louisville of developing and advancing their attacking play and giving multiple dimensions to how Louisville could attack and hurt you and score goals because she was quick. She was also physical. Her hold-up play, her ability to combine, she could turn defenders, shoot from distance, on breakaways. She has so many skill sets in her back pocket for Sears that made her really fun to watch. Some other players that actually weren't in the draft, but rookies this year that I want to give a shout out to, Kennedy Fuller, a U17 Youth International with Angel City. She was very influential under Becky Tweed this year, playing a lot of different roles in the midfield, helping to keep possession, stepping up in times when Angel City needed players. They needed depth and they needed healthy bodies. There are a lot of young guns in the NWSL this year when you think of Kimi Ascanio at San Diego, Emery Adamas also on the West Coast U20 with Seattle Reign. All of these players had different moments where they competed and they looked really good with their teams. This rookie class, maybe one of the better ones that we've seen as a whole in the NWSL over the last several seasons in terms of not a lot of difference from first pick to players that even weren't drafted and just picked up or youth players.
We didn't even talk about Ali Sentinor as well.
I know.
So many.
She's a rookie of the year candidate, though. Would you say?
I guess we'll find out. The votes are rolling in. We'll find out.
Roy's got it.
I like that. Stay tuned, Sandra. Sounds like your tweets are going to be giving us updates on Rookie of the Year. Follow her. She's got Sandra bombs coming everywhere. Okay, guys, don't go anywhere. We are talking some of the teams that just barely missed out on the playoffs. Stick with us. Hey guys, welcome back to Attacking Third. What went wrong for some of the NWSL teams that missed out on the NWSL postseason? Racing Louisville, they finished 9th for the 4th straight year, missing out on playoffs. They had a chance in the final match day, but they didn't get it done. 7 wins, 7 draws, and 12 losses, sitting on 28 points, just 4 points outside of the playoff line. What went wrong, Darian, for Racing Louisville this year?
It's that middle 7 draws.
Oh,
we joked a lot. I worked with Jess Mack a lot this year, and we joked a lot about why is it so often that Louisville's default is to draw? Cannot hold out a game, or they get scored on early, they equalize, but then can't put another way. It almost felt like it was comfortable to draw. Like it felt okay to draw. And that cannot be the case. And I think next year, I'm really looking forward to see Louisville under Bev Yanez and her acquire more players that really suit the style of play that she's implementing with Louisville, because I do think this is a team that deserved to make playoffs with the pushes that they had inconsistently, albeit throughout the season. But it came down to the draws. They had to finish out a game. They have to lock out defensively. And I think it's them really defining that style of play. It reminds me of Orlando last year, where they were so close to making it. It's just one of those games where if they got an extra point, they got 3 points, they would have been in. And Louisville's like that for me, but gives me a lot of faith for next year. For 2025 Louisville, I think Bev Yanez has the team, has the style of play. She's a genius. She's a great coach. I think that she can push this team to be a playoff contending team again and actually get there.
San
Yeah.
Diego Wave, a team that had very high expectations coming into this season, they finished 10th, only 6 wins, 7 draws, and 13 losses on 25 points. A bit of a coaching change in the middle. Sandra, where did it all fall apart for the Wave?
Yeah, I think, and just to sort of piggyback off of racing, I think there's going to be a theme here for me, and anyway, when we're talking about the teams that we're talking about right now, but there's a layer of not getting the job done at essentially the executive level for some of these teams. I mean, racing is having another fourth consecutive season with the 9th place finish, and they were a team that tried to make some moves to get to the playoffs now instead of kind of build out. So I hope that they continue to maybe evaluate over the season, stick with Bev Yanez. There's obviously a plan there and a vision. Let her continue to cook and build. And I think for San Diego Wave, you see some of that as well. We saw a ton of missteps by front office executives in terms of the decisions that they made. It was obvious that this team was not scoring and that they were in a rut in that first season. But right when you thought in the first half of the season that perhaps they could start turning a corner, they went ahead and they fired Casey Stoney, and nothing good came from that out of San Diego. If anything, it continued to let them kind of go down a downward spiral. So there was never any stability for players when they had not just one, but 2 interim head coach, which is already another questionable move coming out of the firing of Casey Stoney. And it never really looked like players. And when you saw the body language, as if they were having any fun or having a lot of joy within some of the games that they found themselves playing in, because it was not just a regular season in NWSL. We also had Summer Cup games. This is a team that found themselves in the midst of CONCACAF W Champions Cup. They ended up, not making it all the way through there. So it's been tough to watch a team that had achieved so much early success alongside Casey Stoney kind of look like as if they're flailing in the wind now. So they are another franchise that is going to have an introduction and influx of new ownership. What are going to be the moves moving forward for San Diego? And I think it's got to be a kind of clean sweep. You're talking in front office areas probably, and quite frankly, maybe some movement for the players.
Angel City, meanwhile, they finished 12th, 7, 6, and 13 on wins, draw, losses, 24 points. Not enough consistency, right? They, under Becky Tweed, Angel City had momentum building. Remember, their entire club was sold in the middle of a season, which does cause a lot of disruption, ripple down effect to the rest of the group, but they suffered injuries that they had to deal with. Angel City couldn't complete games, right? They were all over the place and disjointed, and it took way too long in the season for Angel City to have a significant game plan that they were going to play their own style. So often they were reacting to what other teams were doing and allowing the opposition to impose their game on Angel City, not Angel City having any say or dictation in how the game was going to be played. But there are big learning points for Angel City, right? Kristen Press getting back into the mix, Sydney LaRue getting fired up, Alyssa Thompson ending up going on a scoring run. If some of those things happened earlier in the season and you had your stars able to shine, I think it would be a different story for Angel City to close out the year. Ultimately, though, those teams didn't make it, but 8 teams did. NWSL Playoffs and the quarterfinals start this weekend on Friday, and Saturday it is Kansas City against North Carolina Courage, November 9th, 12 p.m. kickoff. You can watch it on CBS. Dee and I will be chatting all about it on CBS and Paramount Plus. Tune in. Then on Monday, we're back with Attacking Third to recap the entire weekend of NWSL Playoffs. 8 teams entered this weekend. Only 4 teams will leave, and we're going to recap it all on Monday. Thanks, guys. Dee, Sandra, appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for listening and joining us. Make sure you follow Attacking Third wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating and review. You can watch us, too, youtube.com/Attacking Third or on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. For Mark, Sandra, Darian, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.